that's been the major growth sector that I've been focusing. I would say that and drones certainly in general. Um, that if
Yeah, it seems like every day we're hearing stuff about drone activity or getting videos of drones
yeah
doing shit over
yeah
in Ukraine
yeah.
and Russia.
Well, I mean, that's the thing. They're cheap and they're expendable. Okay, so it's like you have multi-billion-dollar weapons platforms, whether it's an F-35 or an M1 Abrams, and billions of dollars get put into these things. You have a drone; it costs $5 million. You send it over, it gets the job done, and you don't. There's no pilot. You don't have to worry about sending a flag home to a mom. Like you can just get this stuff out here. You can crank it out really cheaply. One of the guys in Ukraine said, if we had more drones, we could win this war tomorrow. Like that's just it. It's just a matter of at this point getting supplies. It's just we can't build them fast enough. But yeah, it was also earlier this week. And for a while now, they've been talking about this counteroffensive that Ukraine's going to launch because there was this lull in fighting over the winter, and then there was a Russian offensive that really didn't accomplish much, and then it was like this long-planned Ukrainian counteroffensive, which is going to make use of all these tanks that we've been sending them. It was a big deal. They got the Leopard tanks from Europe. They got some M1 Abrams. They've been training on these platforms. Now they got to go use them and take their country back. And I think we're getting close to that point with the counteroffensive because there have been all these drone attacks on Russian soil. They literally sent 8 drones to Moscow on Monday, and they didn't. They got past Russia's border defenses, so they got to basically like kind of like the ritzy suburbs of Moscow, where a lot of even like politicians live, and they shot down like 5 of them, and then used basically electronic warfare to disable and disorient the other 3. Well, they still crashed into stuff. They still crashed into apartment buildings. They still landed on the street. They launched 2 drone attacks against Russian oil refineries. They're starting to go after their energy, which is if you really want to hit Russia, hit them in their oil production. That's all they have. That's their only lifeline so far throughout this whole thing. It's been sending oil to China and the Middle East and whoever will have it to skirt the sanctions. And then also not to say they can't even fuel their vehicles, right? So you have these kind of attacks now that are these drone attacks deep in Russian territory. And again, that's all drone stuff. You don't need to send a MiG or an F-16. You don't need to do all this stuff. You can send the drones.